Panty Party is a 2017 hack-and-slash arena brawler with anime schoolgirls and disembodied panties fighting to save the world from a tyrannical panty overlord and embrace all fashions of panties for the love of the thing itself. It's a short game at only 2 hours and the combat kinda sucks, but it's worth the time it takes to beat it for a few laughs on a lazy afternoon. But this video isn't a review of Panty Party. If that's what you're looking for, you can find that on my main channel. The video there is literally called "This is a review of Panty Party, bracket, waifu wear, question mark, close bracket." No, this video is meant to be a conversation about a back-end part of doing this whole YouTube thing. And it's quite possibly packaged in the worst way imaginable, but also in a way that kinda makes sense if you stick the video through. So let's get into it. Let's talk about YouTubers, audiences, communities, and friendships. Sounds kinda flowery. Way back before I even started YouTube myself, I'd always hear creators offering the same advice. Just put up your videos and interact as little as possible. Run your social media so that people can see your work getting shared, but do not reply. If your audience is big enough, other viewers will be there to hold the conversations for you. A lot of creators would say not to get involved with your audience at all. And in many ways, that can be good advice. Dealing with audiences can be a huge source of anxiety, and the less careful people will leave themselves open to bad situations or get themselves involved in things they really shouldn't be. For smaller channels, the advice given almost always seems to be the opposite. Interact with your viewers as much as possible, each and every one of them. Bring them into your circles. Make them feel like they belong. Give them a reason to keep coming back. They pay attention to you, so return the favor and pay attention to them. For better or worse, I've come to the realization that I routinely fail at taking advice from either side of the spectrum. Maybe it's because YouTube isn't a business for me, and I don't stake my life or future on it. I don't need to be so safe and protective. I won't take a customer is always right approach when dealing with comments, and when people are being shitty, I honestly have some fun clapping back. People might say it's low of a creator to do that we should be above that, but I'm not above valuing my own peace of mind and turning their crappy comments into a source of fun for myself. You know, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, that sort of deal. But that's all a little off topic. I've always been pretty bad at the social media side of things in general. I have a Twitter that you can see I rarely post on. I have an Instagram I basically never post on. I used to have a Facebook page, which I also rarely posted on, and it no longer exists. And I have a Discord, which I do semi-regularly take part in, but have restructured it to not put the focus on myself, and instead made it more of a generalized JRPG Discord, which you can join. It's called The Armory. There's a link in the description below. Despite making videos on YouTube, I really don't like having a spotlight on me in any way, and I know that's quite counterintuitive. I think the reason I'm more drawn to Discord is twofold. It's a very small server, less than 200 people at the time of recording, and less than 50 of them are routinely active. And also, it's relatively private. I sign on to Twitter all the time, to be honest, and hardly interact with anything because there's simply too many people there. Most of the time, I don't want to be seen, or at least I don't like knowing I have been. But behind those closed doors of my Discord server, a small community has grown that kind of just shows up for each other. Connections that formed maybe because my channel was originally a nexus point for them, but now they're just there for each other. And I love that. But it's also here where I really fail to take that first piece of advice I mentioned YouTubers used to give out. That piece of advice about distancing yourself from your viewers and those that support you. That advice makes some sense to me, of course, but it's just not who I am as a person. Over the years, I've got to know many of the people in my community, and it's been the best part of doing this whole online thing. But when you spread yourself across global demographics far and wide, reaching thousands of people, you open yourself up to things I don't see many people talk about. So I want to talk about a couple of the relationships I've formed over the years. So if we go back years and years and years ago, I used to run my main YouTube channel and a second channel for streaming. My main channel had maybe 500 subscribers at the time, and the second channel, maybe 100. I had a handful of routine viewers, and one of them I'm just gonna call M for the sake of the video. She used to tune in to watch me and another buddy online, Basket Casey, play Mario Kart, Minecraft, and sometimes Mario Maker. Basket Casey, by the way, was another great friend I made on here. A real genuine connection, to be honest, and I miss that dude. He invited me to his wedding, but it was in another country and just not really that feasible to get to. But he was a super good dude. He's not online much these days, but he seems to have made big strides in living a fulfilling and happy life, and I'm happy for him. My game's glitching because I'm like stuck in 8.
It's broken, I'm gonna return it.
But back to M. We chatted a bit off and on Twitter back in the day, and of course in the live stream chats. She had an animation project she was working on and asked if I could play a character for her. So I did. I sent her some voice lines that she wrote, and she got to work. She sent me a demo once of her progress, but I don't think she ever finished the project. I wasn't bothered by that. I was happy to offer my help and to be making real connections with the people in my circles and supporting them as they supported me. I'm gonna leave her story there for now, but we will come back to her later. It was awesome back then to start making these friends across the globe, and as the channel and communities grew, so did my opportunities to make these sorts of connections. But also, as they grew, things got a little crowded, and it was harder to really foster those one-on-one connections I value so much. That's when my focus shifted more towards the Discord. Constant unfolding conversations and connections between a small handful of people. One of my favorite people I ever met, I met in there. And I'm going to refer to her as Aurelia, because she frequently rocked the Aurelia Le Guin profile pic from Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4. Aurelia was smart as hell. She was very well-read, insightful, introspective, and above all, typically very polite and patient. Until US politics came up in the Discord, but then, man, that topic tends to get the best of people anyway. She's probably one of the only people that ever influenced me to delete a video. Not because she was harsh or mean and she never asked me to, but because she offered such a simple, apt, and elegant point of view that I had never considered before and really should have. The video was only online for 2 to 3 days. A few thousand people had seen it, but she was the only one to provide the perspective she did, and in very few words, she completely shifted my perspective and dismantled a point I thought I had genuine confidence in. We talked a lot over the years. She used to support my Patreon when I ran one. We talked books and literature a lot, sometimes movies and TV, video games. During the 2024 Steam Summer Sale, I gifted her a copy of The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. She had the same sort of interest in older DOS-era point-and-click style games I did. In response, she gifted me Panty Party, which covers, of course, how I ended up with the game, but not why I'm covering it now. The thing people never really talk about when running these online communities is not the connections you make, but the connections you lose. Of course, people change sometimes, right? They lose interest in the product you create, fall out of favor with the community you built, whatever, life happens. They move on, and they leave you behind. I don't take it personally. It's life. You have to move with it and focus on what your life is telling you you want and need at that time. Hell, I rarely produce videos these days, so I don't blame anybody for not picking back up where we left off when I do upload. But I too have life going on. Sometimes it's due to clashes with others in the community that things fall apart and people you felt a connection to end up leaving. Balancing a diverse group of people and expecting it to stay civil at all times without resorting to an overreach of censorship and stuff like that, to be honest, I don't know that that's entirely possible. Sometimes you yourself, as in me, myself, sometimes I fuck up. I let my guard down, get too comfortable. I might say something stupid I shouldn't have, and I can be directly the cause of other people leaving. I'm not perfect, it happens. I carry some regrets over that. Some connections, on the other hand, are lost because sometimes people are sick. One person I used to stream with all the time went off a bit of a deep end. Started acting erratically, saying a bunch of paranoid things and just burning all the bridges he should have been working to build. It was hard to watch. It was even harder to watch people focus in on him during these times. People who never heard of him before, but they were all tuning in to watch the clown show. That clown show being the deterioration of a man's mental state, most likely as the result of bad medication practice. There was no sympathy for him whatsoever, and some streamers were more than happy to platform him during his roughest times to get some clicks and laughs at his expense. These streamers didn't know that this wasn't his natural state, that he was never like this before, but they also never tried to find out. Following this man's public breakdown, he largely disappeared from the internet. The few times I had seen him try to reappear and pick up Insane Mind where he had left off, the history of that breakdown followed him. He's not really active these days, and we haven't spoken in a few years. As for M, she never finished her animation. Not that I know of anyway. My Twitter was a very small place when we were chatting, but I wouldn't always see her post right away. She would often talk about her depression, the medications she was taking, and how much she wanted to commit suicide. I seen a couple posts of hers 2 days after they went up. The first one talking about how she had taken a handful of her meds, the second post being about how she thought they were starting to take over. I reached out to her in a DM when I seen these, and I never got a response. And she never posted again. I was 2 days too late to do anything, and that was the first time that ever happened to me. I'm still in the dark over what exactly happened back then, but I fear the worst. And unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time I would be in this case. Aurelia was also sick. She spent a lot of the time I knew her sick. She recovered once for a while, mostly, but the sickness came back, and she told us then that she wasn't going to get better this time. That cancer is a Cancer When her illness was getting harder to handle, she left most social media groups she was in, and for a while, the only notice I got of her activity was her signing into Steam a few times every day. Then a few days passed where she didn't sign it. I wanted to hold out hope, where she was in the hospital and they were working with her, despite what she said, that maybe she was in the throes of some operation or procedure that could make her better. But a few days more passed. The people in my Discord community noticed that she hadn't been online for a while. I sent her a message on Discord, but it didn't go through. 2 days later, a member of the Discord came back with the worst news. Aurelia's younger brother confirmed that she died last week of cancer. A couple members of the community pooled a bit of cash and sent some flowers to her family. Now, this Discord community continues despite those we lose, but the hole she left behind will always be felt by a few of us. Aurelia, though she never played those waifware games herself, at least enjoyed watching those videos and exploring that side of gaming through them. It satiated a curiosity for her. She was always up to learn new things and broaden her perspectives. It's too late now, and honestly, I feel like I've lost the spark for making those specific videos, like the new one doesn't hold a candle to the old ones, but I hope I at least made something that she would have enjoyed watching. I've been putting off making this video for a while because I know I can't say everything I want, and I'm definitely not eloquent or thoughtful enough to do any of this justice. I've wanted to make this video, but it's like dragging myself through mud, wanting to be able to work on it. But if I can put this in any terms at all, I'll put it this way. When you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to losses that, at times, can seem near equal to what you gained. But it only seems that way. The losses hurt because what you gained was so great. And the loss of a connection doesn't mean the loss of their influence or memory. Your life can be forever changed by fleeting connections, big or small. I'm glad for the time I got to spend getting to know her. I wish you could have known her too. Thanks for watching.